Today's video is sponsored by privacy.com, which lets you buy things online using virtual cards instead of real ones, protecting your privacy, hence the name. There are hundreds, possibly thousands, possibly millions of Star Wars games out there. I checked Wikipedia and there's only hundreds, only a few hundred. Although you'd still have to say it'd be almost impossible to play them all. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to attempt to play every single... Nah, man, I'm just kidding. Maybe someday. Challenge accepted. Anyway. Today, we're looking at 10 Star Wars games you've probably never heard of, and if you've never heard of them, you've probably also never played them. Some of these are old games, some of them are bad games, and some are games that flew under the radar. And if you've heard of some of these before or played them yourself, please let me know in the comments. And if you know of a Star Wars game you think other people don't, please also let me know. These ones are definitely rare Star Wars games though, so let's do this. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. First up, we have a Game Boy Advance Star Wars game released way back in 2004 called Star Wars Trilogy Apprentice of the Force. Now, some of you might have played this as a kid, but this one completely slipped past me when I was growing up. I only found out it existed today. And maybe that's because it didn't rate all that high. You play as Luke Skywalker and make your way through the original trilogy, from shooting stormtroopers in Mos Eisley to fighting the Wampa on Hoth. Poor dude's just chilling in the cave and you go stab him with lightsaber, to fighting Vader on the second Death Star in the Emperor's throne room. This game had it all. And for handheld gaming at the time, the graphics on this thing were pretty good. The game was developed by Ubisoft Montreal, who'd also created Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, which was a similar side-scrolling adventure game released around the same time. The two were compared. Also, there are no actual voices in Apprentice of the Force. Everything was written text on the screen, which at times made the game feel bland and repetitive, and like you just couldn't wait to get back to the action. But you could blow up the Death Star, which was pretty cool. At number 9, we have Star Wars Imperial Academy, a mobile freemium first-person shooter released in 2011 for the iPhone and iPod Touch. I remember those. You play as a new recruit in the Imperial Academy and make your way through different levels, shooting other Imperials in a training sim style format. However, the game wasn't received all that well. Looking at it now, it honestly looks really basic. Just, you make your way through levels, through shooting galleries. And back in 2011, it was pretty much the same. A basic first-person shooter that brought nothing new to the genre of mobile shooters. Apart from the Star Wars setting, I guess. This one was developed by NG Moko, a now defunct mobile developer, and was published by THQ, which also no longer exists. Next at number 8 is Star Wars Yoda's Jedi Training, a free online browser game developed by Disney Interactive and released in 2016. How many games allow you to run around on Dagobah as Luke with 900-year-old Yoda strapped to your back? This here is one of few that allow you to do that, but it's basically just a platformer. You run around as Luke and try to set a high score by running as far as possible without dying. You can swing from vines, jump on platforms, use Luke's Anakin's lightsaber to slash through spiky branches and collect coins to spend in the Star Wars arcade on a variety of Star Wars games. I think that's how it worked anyway. You could also unlock different appearances like Luke's pilot outfit and Jedi Knight outfit. There'd be changes in weather and scenery as you're running and get all moody and it'd start raining. And that's what you had to do. You just gotta keep on running. Seriously though, even if gameplay gets repetitive quickly, I think this is the only game out there dedicated to Luke's training on Dagobah. So if you want that experience, go play this. Okay, next at number 7 today is LEGO Star Wars The New Yoda Chronicles from 2014. Not to be confused with LEGO Star Wars The Yoda Chronicles from 2013, because in my opinion, The New Yoda Chronicles is far superior because it features a lot more variety in game modes and content. The New Yoda Chronicles is a mobile game which was also available on the LEGO website and allowed you to play through several different scenarios like skydiving down a Geonosis catacomb, or slicing through battle droids with a lightsaber, flying a snowspeeder on Hoth to take down AT-AT walkers, assaulting an Imperial Star Destroyer in a B-Wing. Man, this game had stuff you can't even do in Battlefront 2. The game is kind of split in two. You have the light side missions like the ones I just mentioned, and the dark side, with game modes like the one with General Grievous slicing through Wookiees and clones on Kashyyyk, separatist fleet battles, an aerial assault over Kashyyyk, lots of variety and hours of fun. Okay, next up at number 6, I'm sure you've heard of the Revenge of the Sith console game, right? Released in 2005 as a tie-in for the the film. This is one of my all-time favorite Star Wars games, but did you know there was also a completely different handheld version of Revenge of the Sith, developed by Ubisoft? This was a 2.5D beat-em-up side-scroller, in which you chose to play as either Anakin or Obi-Wan and get to play through the events of the film, from slicing up battle droids to fighting Sith Lords, to eventually facing either Anakin or Obi-Wan at the end, depending on who you choose to play the whole game as. What a cool idea. Let the player decide who they play as, and then have them face off at the end against their best friend, brothers. I loved you. At your disposal, you have a variety of different lightsaber attacks and combos, as well as force powers, but both Obi-Wan and Anakin's animations are almost identical. Similarly to the console versions, as you play through the game, you can unlock customization points to level up certain abilities of your choosing, and also another cool detail, you needed to deflect blaster bolts manually by timing the block button with the blaster bolt. Pretty advanced stuff for back in the day. Also, the Nintendo DS version features multiplayer space battles with vehicles from both the prequel and original Trilogy era. What a huge game for a mobile title to have multiplayer like this as well, with a completely different game mode with space battles. And I'm sure lots of people did play this game back in the day when it released, but nowadays you never see this game mentioned because everyone focuses on the console version, which sure is probably still the superior, but man, this is cool. So guys, today's video is sponsored by Privacy. Privacy is a tool which makes it easy to keep your money safe online. By generating virtual numbers, Privacy masks your bank information, so you never have to use your card numbers when buying stuff online. You can decide who can charge your card, how much, and how often, so you know the banking clan aren't going to go stealing your cash. Setting up your account is simple. Go to privacy.com/bombastic and create an account, and you have to check this box to say you're a US resident, so today I'm American, so I can show you how this works. Then all you have to do is link your virtual cards to a US checking account or a debit card, then you can add a limit to the virtual card based on how much you want to spend, and then download the browser extension from the Chrome web store. And next time you want to buy something, in the checkout, you'll see the privacy icon appear next to where you need to type your card number. Click that, create a new virtual card, and you're good to go without using any of your real bank details. So to sign up, head over to privacy.com/bombastic and get $5 to spend on your first purchase. Details in the description. Okay, for number 5, we're going way back to the turn of the century, the year 2000, for Star Wars Episode 1, Obi-Wan's Adventures. Now, around the time The Phantom Menace released, there were a bunch of Star Wars themed games appearing on store shelves. There was Star Wars The Phantom Menace, the movie tie-in, there was Jedi Power Battles, Star Wars Demolition, Star Wars Super Bombard Racing, but Obi-Wan's Adventures was significant because this was the first game published on LucasArts' agreement with publishers THQ to make Star Wars games for the Game Boy Color. I had the green one. The lime green one, way back in the day. Now, this is what you call an isometric adventure game, which basically means it's not top-down and not from the third person or side-on, but this, whatever this is. You basically play through Obi-Wan's involvement in the Phantom Menace, from the Trade Federation ship to the Naboo swamps to the Theed Palace, and eventually get to face Darth Maul as the final boss battle, although Maul only has a single blade for some reason. I guess it had already been cut in half by this stage. Also, you can wield the Force and a blaster for some reason, and shoot a blaster as Obi-Wan. So uncivilized. Now, number 4, a game lots of you have probably never heard of before, Star Wars Battle Pod. The reason you've never heard of it, because they're very, very rare. Let me explain. This is an arcade game developed by Bandai Namco, released in 2015 with the game running in Unreal Engine 3. Now, as far as arcade games go, this thing is the real deal. You sit in the cockpit, hands on the levers, and get to fly through 6 different scenarios based on scenes and battles from the films. You can perform the trench run and blow up the Death Star, assault AT-AT walkers on Hoth and escort the rebel evacuation. You can ride a speeder bike on Endor in a chase through the forest, then experience the Endor space battle and assault on the second Death Star. And then you can also play as Darth Vader and kill Han Solo after the destruction of the Death Star. You know that scene how his TIE fighter goes spinning? Well, he recovers faster than we all thought and hunts down the rebel teenagers. Doesn't let him get away with just, murdering millions of people. Anakin was, after all, the best pilot in the Republic and the Jedi Order, so pretty sure he would have caught up with him and killed them all.
This is where the fun begins.
Anyway, I'm pretty sure this game is on rails though, seeing as though it's an arcade game. With its wraparound screens and shell-like design, this is surely one of the most immersive arcade games out there ever created. Only problem is, it's very unlikely likely you'll be able to get your hands behind the controls, because unless your local movie theater or arcade has one of these, you're looking at spending $35,000 for just the flat screen version, which, doesn't have all the extra bells and whistles. And get this, the actual pod version, which does come with your name engraved on the side and a bunch of other fancy features, costs $100,000. Just let that sit with you for a bit. Why save up for a house when you can just buy one of these? You could live in this, right? All right, next up, at number 3, we have a Flash game which originally appeared on the Clone Wars page of the Cartoon Network website. This is Star Wars Yoda Battle Slash, a fast-paced platformer where you jump from stap to stap, that's what these things the droids are riding are called, stap speeders, please stap it, and attempt to generate a high score before running out of time. You've got this bar on the side, and this gets reduced each time you miss a jump, and Yoda falls on a building and jumps back up again. A game completely dedicated to destroying droids on stap speeders. What will they think of next? Alright, number 2 is what everyone refers to as the Twi'lek game. That's what I'm calling it anyway. Star Wars Lethal Alliance was released in 2006 for the Nintendo DS and PSP. Developed by Ubisoft, you play as Rhianna Saren. What? Saren? Rhianna Saren, who's been hired by Kyle Katarn to destroy an Imperial shipment headed to Coruscant. You have a blaster, but the game also has a heavy emphasis on stealth and use of Rhianna's droid companion. Before BD-1, before the ID-9 Seeker droid, there was this thing, who helps you collect items and complete objectives. There are also a bunch of combo moves and finishes you could perform, but overall, gameplay is quite clunky and significantly dated. This game released before Star Wars Renegade Squadron and Elite Squadron, which were probably the 2 more memorable PSP games to come out of the mid to late 2000s. But hey, LucasArts wanted to make a Twi'lek game, and this is what the devs at Ubisoft Montreal came up with, so here it is. Is this some weird extension of George Lucas's obsession with Darth Talon? Something weird going on there. And number 1 is one of my all-time favorite ideas for a Star Wars game that you've probably never heard of unless you've watched this channel or played Clone Wars Adventures back in the day. This is Stunt Gungan, the minigame built into Clone Wars Adventures, which is all about launching Jar Jar Binks far into the air and trying to get him to travel as far as possible. What a game. During his travel across the Naboo plains, Jar Jar will need to avoid hazards such as mud piles, puddles, oh no, and clone troopers, but can be helped along the way by stap speeders, probe droids, grenades, and boost pads. And basically, like I said, you need to make Jar Jar go as far as possible. What a concept. Now, if you used to play Clone Wars Adventures, you'll know that the game was shut down years ago, tragically, because apparently the developers thought the game's audience grew up. But I'm pretty sure Stunt Gungan is now playable with the Clone Wars Adventures emulator. Team of passionate people bringing this thing back to life. So, do you know of any Star Wars games you think very few people would have played? And had you heard of any or all of the games in today's video? Let me know in the comments. And for more on Star Wars gaming, you can watch one of these videos here and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and join my Discord for lots more Star Wars gaming, news, and everything else. And thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.